This video is about two-step equations. The two-step equations are when you have a variable, a constant, and a coefficient. We are going to first get rid of the addition and subtraction of a constant if it's possible. I always pick the one that's on the side with the variable because a lot of people, now some people want to draw a line down where the equal sign is. You can do that if it helps, because what you never want to do is do two things on the left side of the equal sign and nothing on the right, or two things on the right and nothing on the left. So in this case, we're going to start by subtracting 3. When we go through that, that makes this 0. I bring down my 2x, leaving me with 6. At this point, I'm left with a one-step equation like we had in the previous videos. So when you have something multiplied to a variable, to undo it, we divide by that. Remember, this time, we're not trying to get it to equal 0 like we did up here with the 3. This time, we're trying to get it to equal 1x. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now, I want to remind you that inequalities are really not very much different, with the exception of one simple rule. In this case, it's absolutely identical process. You're still going to be going across that center line. Instead of an equal sign, which makes something an equation, we'll have an inequality, which makes something an inequality. Make sense? So we're going to subtract 3 on both sides. Again, I only want to get rid of the numbers that are on the same side of the variable as the inequality. So the variable is on the left side of the inequality, so I'm getting rid of all the numbers that are on the left side. So that makes that 0, leaving us with 2x. I bring down my less than sign, which is 6. Again, when you get confused about less than or greater than, kind of think of this slanted symbol as a slanted L. Kind of looks like an L for less than. Then we divide by 2, and x is less than 3. Again, if we're doing a number line, and you have, let's say, 2, 3, and 4 on your number line, you just have an open circle there because there is no or equal to symbol. X's are smaller than the 3, so that means all the numbers to the left of the 3 are also smaller. Okay. Moving along to a more difficult one, and this one is one that you want to be careful of because of the negative x. It's real easy for people to look at this 3 and see the minus and say, oh, I have to add it because that's the opposite of minus. Well, yeah, adding is opposite of minus, but that's not what we're getting rid of. We're getting rid of a positive 3. A positive 3, remember our goal is to get it to equal 0. So if I add 3 here, I'm not going to get 0, I'm going to get 6. So I have to subtract 3. And again, I'm going on either side of that equal sign, subtract 3. Now, that makes this 0. That makes this negative x. 9 minus 3 is 6. Now, this is just like there's a negative x is the same thing as negative 1x. So you could go back and forth with that. Same thing. So in this case, you're going to just divide both sides by negative 1 because I want a positive 1x in the end, and 6 divided by negative 1 is negative 6. Again, you're going to do the same thing over here and stay on either side of the inequality. We're going to subtract 3, even though we're so tempted to add because we see minus. Be very careful. Don't do that. So then I have a negative x. Remember, this makes it 0. This makes it 6. I keep my symbol the same, except if I divide or multiply by a negative number, we have to, which we are doing here by dividing by negative 1, we have to flip the direction of the sign. Now, if you want to hear the explanation on why and you didn't watch, you would watch part 2 of solving one-step linear, and I explain why we change the direction of the sign here. In this case, we will have, let's say I have negative 7, negative 6, and negative 5 on a number line. I will have an open circle at negative 6, and I will go to the left because